Hello YouTube! Today we're going over the best starters in each generation for Nuzlocking. So we'll judge them based on their own generation, which means Bulbasaur will be evaluated on generation 1 and generation 3 with Fire Red and Leaf Green. So for example, okay, let's go for Bulbasaur. It is the best Kanto starter in my opinion because the first gym is Brock, the second gym is Misty. He has advantageous typing against these two. Very good against Lieutenant Surge and Erica. After that, you should have enough options. And for that reason, I will put it at S tier. I think it's probably the best starter for Nuzlocking. Charmander is interesting. So there's not a lot of fire type Pokemon in generation 1. And for that reason, it could be an interesting choice. But the times for the weakness to rock hinders it a lot. And for that reason, I think it's no better than B because it is still strong. The dual typing with flying gives him some advantage. But in the end, I don't think it's that good. Squirtle is a very good encounter, a very good starter. Good defensive typing. Water is super strong against Brock and it resists Misty. For that reason, I would put it in A tier. But because water type is so common in games, you will have better option. Maybe not for Brock, but later on in the game. And Gyarados being the strongest or one of the strongest Pokemon to have in your game means you don't necessarily want to have two Pokemon of the same type. So I'll knock it down a little bit. I think it is still better than Charmander though. Generation 2. A bit of the same because of the amount of water encounters that you might get. Tentacruel super strong, and you've got Octillery that hits like a truck. You've got the red Gyarados that could be very interesting again. For that reason, I think that Totodile is probably a C. It's a little less tanky than Squirtle. Doesn't have great coverage. Yeah, I don't think it's as good as Squirtle. Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil is Charmander 2. But I like it better a little bit because it does have flying, so it's weak to ground but not to electric type. And I think it just have in general a little bit of a better matchup against the early gyms. So against the flying type gym, you're neutral, and then it's bug, and then it's the normal type gym, and so it doesn't have the same problems like Charmander did. And Chikorita is, I'm debating between C and D. So it has a very weak typing to deal with the first two gyms. In a later game though, it becomes very useful in Meganium because it has access to a lot of support moves, but early game is so hard with it. I'll put it in C, because you do have some other encounters like a Geodude, like that you could get like Mareep, that would help it survive early game, and then in the later game you'll have a good matchup. Trico is an A tier starter. I keep saying encounter but I mean starter. Trico is a very good starter. Good attack, good speed. It is extremely strong in the early game. It's extremely strong in the later game too. Access to great moves. Generation 3. You do have some good grass encounter, like the Ludicolo and like the Shiftry. You have Cacturne that is also a decent grass encounter, but nothing comes close to Trico. Okay, Torchic. What should we do with Torchic? weak against the first gym, not necessarily strong against the second one and the third one. Yeah, it's not great, to be honest. It's a bit squishy. I would probably say it's one of the weakest starter. Mudkip is very good. Mudkip, because of the dual typing, would probably be a little bit better than Squirtle. I would put it in A. Third weak. Good defensive typing, weak to ice, but that is the 7th gym, so when you're there you should be fine in theory. You should have answers to the ice type. Access to ground type move, grass moves. It's decent, good defense, good stats. I like it. It's not great by any means, but it's not bad. It's somewhere in the middle, I would say. Let's say top of C. Chimchar. So Diamond Pearl, very well known to not have much fire encounter. So you have Ponyta, you have Chimchar, and then I think it's like Eatran or some shit. So because of that, if you really want to have a fire type, you have to pick Chimchar. So for its own generation, it gains a lot of points for being one of the only encounters fire type that you can get. Water type's extremely common again. Tentacruel again, it is available. I believe Magikarp also is available, so you have access to Gyarados and Tentacruel. Yeah, so I would say probably an A tier, and Piplup is very good also. But like we said, we already have good water type that are available, so we maybe not want to crowd our party with too many water type. Big positive is the dual typing with Steel. So I would probably put it in B tier, not because it's not good, but because it is easily replaceable by other Pokemon. Gen 5. So I played a lot of Generation 5. So you've got Black and White, Black 2 and White 2. The first gym being normal type in Black 2 and in White, Black and White, the original one, it is the weakness. So you get the monkey. And so the first gym is not really affected by which one you choose. The second one is not really affected either. I don't remember. Maybe Tepe gains double kick. Maybe. In Black 2, White 2, you've got the second gym is poison, which means Snivy would be the worst. Which makes sense. I don't think it's very good. Tepig is not incredible either. Plus, in terms of fire type, you've got the bug fire that is with Quiver Dance. What's its name? I don't remember. Larvesta that evolves into that thing, super strong. And you've got the Darumaka also that is extremely powerful. And so if I had to pick a fire type, I would probably not pick Tepig. Yeah, I think it's not that great. I would say out of the three, I think they're very close to one another, Snivy and Tepig. I'd say C tier. And Oshawa, probably the better option of the three. Again, I would always hesitate choosing a water type. But it's the better option. It's similar to Totodile, I would say. Chestnut. Chestnut, that's interesting. I like its typing. It's kind of bulky. It hits somewhat hard. Physically statted, I would say. Of that generation, is probably a B tier. Fennekin becomes Delphox, which has access to the psychic typing. But I don't think it's that good. I'm trying to remember the gyms. That's probably the generation I played the least. Let's just gut feeling from what I remember. I remember not liking it. And I don't see how it could be better than Snivy and Tepig. Rogue is good. Very similar to Piplup. Greninja is not a bad Pokemon. So yeah. I would put it after Piplup because it doesn't have access to the Steel type. Alright. Generation 7. So we're now in Sun and Moon. And so I think that's the easiest generation probably. Just because that thing is so strong. Torracat, extremely good middle evolution. And yeah, Litten is just the best. Poplio. So you have the fairy typing, that's interesting. But I don't see it being super useful to have a fairy type. It helps you with the dragon totem if you have it evolved. But other than that, it's not extremely strong. I'd put it somewhere, maybe top of C. Is it better than Turtwig? Yeah, I think it's a little bit better than Turtwig. It has some ways of being a support as well as doing some damage. Not badly statted, so I would say top of C tier. That thing is underrated. I'd put it in a mid B tier for sure. Its last evolution with the grass and ghost typing is very, very strong. I would say it's definitely better than Chestnut. Is it better than Charmander? I think so. Yeah, I think it's better than both of them for sure. Sword and Shield now, Generation 8. So grass is the best in that generation for sure. So let's see. It's the best, but is it better than Squirtle Gen 1? Yes. But that thing, Scorbunny, is extremely frail. And in Generation 8, you have to think about the wild area. So you could be stuck in a battle against something that is much stronger than you. And, well, you always have Pokédolls. But let's say you don't have them and you have to fight them. Scorbunny is in danger at all time because it is frail. So you could lose it. And in Nuzlocke scenario, you could lose it very easily if you're not careful. Same with that thing. But it has better matchups. Yeah. And now Generation 9. Alright. So Quaxley is not good. In a Nuzlocke, I would say probably Fuecoco is extremely strong. If it's not the best, it's close to being one of the best starter to Nuzlocke because of Torch Song. So you have access to Torch Song, which increases your special attack by 1 stage every time. It's a stab move. Terrestrialization can help you remove some of the weaknesses that fire has. So before the elites, you will be higher than level 50, so you could bottle cap all of them to get them to perfect stat. You have mints, and so you can almost have a competitive setup with Slack Off, Torch Song, Shadow Ball, and let's say Protect. And all of a sudden you have something that's able to set up, heal itself, and it is extremely strong. Spirigatito. It's not bad, especially against the Titan Dundazo, because it has Flower Trick. So you negate the +2 in defense with the crit, and you're able to do quite a bit of stab damage. I would say it's similar to Trico, but not as good. So the first gym, so that's the thing. Because of the nature of the game, the first gym, which in theory could be a problem. Now you don't have to start by the first gym. You could start by the first Titan, which is rock or ground. I don't remember, but either way, you have a good matchup against it. And so you have some options to get into gym when you're somewhat over leveled. If you play with level cap, well, then it's a little bit more of a problem, but you can explore quite a bit and have yourself a good counter to the ground, to the bug and or fire. I don't remember. No, there's no fire gem. It's bug. Yeah. Bug or grass. I don't remember. But either way, you have so many options. That would be my list. Maybe I shouldn't put Squirtle a little bit higher. So in general, what we see is water type Pokemon being not great, and that's just because there is so many other options like Gyarados that's almost available in every game, and it's always better than the starter in terms of water type. Tentacruel is an absolutely great option. It's super common, so you can get it in red blue version, of course. You can get it in silver also, yeah, near the island where Lugia is. So you can get it in generation 1, 2, 3. You can get it in generation 4. Generation 5, I don't actually remember. No, generation 5 was a soft reset, so you can't get it in generation 5. But in generation 5, yeah. Generation 5 just doesn't have a great starter, but it's still the best, so that makes sense. And yeah, so that's my list. If you ever do a Nuzlocke, you could always refer to it and select the best starter. It is one of the most important decisions that you will make. And I hope this helps. Let me know in the comment section below what we should explore next to help you do better in your own Nuzlocke. And have a good day.